Hey guys and gals, I'm Mark and welcome to Yesterworld Games. With the Bioshock series being one of my favorite game franchises of all time, and I know it's a lot of your guys' too, I thought it would be fun to go back and look at some of the best Easter eggs, secrets, and facts discovered about the series over the years. Now with all that being said, let's dive right in. With the underwater city of Rapture having such a wide variety of historical influences, it's no surprise that the inhabitants of Bioshock's universe share similar inspirations. The Big Daddies, for instance, were designed after various incarnations of the diving suit, such as the first anthropomorphic design of 1882, the Mark V of the 1920s, and the Gym of the 70s and 80s. Rapture's other inhabitants, the Splicers, have slightly darker influences. Their concepts were inspired by mugshots of the 1940s, and according to artists Rob Waters and Nate Wells, their mutated forms were based off photos from Project Facade, a collection of early attempts at reconstructive surgery for injured soldiers of World War I, with two examples being Henry Ralph Lumley and Walter Yeo. Last but not least, according to Ken Levine, Andrew Ryan was modeled after the appearance of Howard Hughes and the philosophies of Ayn Rand, which is close to an anagram for Andrew Ryan.
Rapture isn't some sunken ship for you to plunder.
I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question Providence. I'm Atlas.
At the start of the game, you meet a man who introduces himself as Atlas. He begs for you to help rescue his wife Moira and infant son Patrick, so they can escape Rapture and start a new life together. Near the end of the game, you learn that you've been tricked, and his true identity is none other than Frank Fontaine, and that his wife and son were completely fabricated.
Thanks for everything, kid.
But if you had a keen eye, you may have seen a clue alluding to his deception all along. Within Fort Frolic is a theater called Fleet Hall, and posted throughout are advertisements for a musical titled Patrick and Moira. Sound familiar?
Feel your cravings at the circus of value!
If you've played through the Bioshock games, this little jingle is probably ingrained in your memory. But what you might not have known is that the voice of this creepy clown belongs to the creator of the Bioshock series, Ken Levine.
Come back when you get some money, buddy!
Aside from a few quick glimpses in the game trailer and the family photo at the start of the game, many players assumed that we never got to see what our character Jack looked like. However, near the end of the game, when you drop into the Would You Kindly room, observant players will notice the photos on the wall. Upon further inspection, it becomes clear that this is a headshot of Jack Ryan, and below on the table, you can see a group of photographs showing Jack in full form, white sweater and all. Despite Jack no longer being the central character, there are various references to his adventure throughout the game. As you make your way across the seabed, you'll see Jack's plane that crashed during the first game. Once you arrive at the Atlantic Express, you'll stumble upon a group of splicers talking about the legacy Jack left behind.
He saved a whole kindergarten full of cutesy little brats.
In Siren Alley, you'll come across some paintings depicting the plane crash and Jack about to be injected with a plasmid. And in Dionysus, you'll stumble upon an old voxophone from Frank Fontaine.
Right about now, I expect the prodigal son is booking his flight.
When reaching the first door that requires a code, though the password is 1540 because it's written on the other side of the glass, to us it appears as 0451. This was also the code used to open the first door in Bioshock 1. Not only that, but variations of 0451 have been used as an access code in games such as System Shock 1 and 2, Deus Ex, Bioshock Infinite, Dishonored, Gone Home, and possibly more. But what's the connection here? It all starts with Looking Glass Studios. Developers Ken Levine, Harvey Smith, and Warren Spector worked for Looking Glass Studios, who developed System Shock 1. These same developers went on to start their own companies, who produced the games mentioned. Fallbright Studios assisted with some of the level design in Bioshock 2 and carried on this tradition into Gone Home. Now there's a lot of speculation as to the origin of this sequence. Some have said it was the security code or elevator code at Looking Glass Studios. Others say that it was inspired by the dystopian novel Fahrenheit 451, and some say all of the above are true. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Back when Bioshock Infinite was in its early stages of production, developers hadn't decided on how Elizabeth would look and play alongside the main protagonist. The first form she took was of a much older woman who would be mute throughout the entire campaign. Now obviously, having a non-speaking companion proved less than engaging, so a younger and more lively Elizabeth was developed. Young not-so-mute Elizabeth made her debut in the first official gameplay trailer back in 2010. Now, as you can see, among a few differences in her hairstyle and facial structure, this version of Elizabeth is much more well-endowed in the chestorial region than how she appeared in the completed game. But fearing the wrath of puberty-stricken teenagers, Busty Elizabeth, as she's now nicknamed, does make an appearance in the game, as one of the alternate versions of herself in the story's climax.
You were born again as a different man.
When you first meet Elizabeth, she opens up a tear to an alternate reality in Paris. In the background, you can see that a theater is playing La Revanche du Jedi, which is French for Revenge of the Jedi. This is a nod to the Star Wars film Return of the Jedi, which was originally titled Revenge of the Jedi during production and on early promotional material.
With just a whisper, they're all ears.
In Bioshock Infinite, when you use the possession elixir to take over an enemy, you hear something very strange. If you reverse the audio, it becomes something entirely different. This is actually a small excerpt from Romeo and Juliet, Act 3, Scene 2. In a similar fashion, at several points during the game, when you speed up what sounds like ambient noise, it's a song. At other times, it's a combination of various sound effects from the first and second Bioshock game.
It's okay. It's alright. I'm here. Just let go. There you go.
Once players wiped the tears away from their eyes after completing the game, a few of them who went back to play the original Bioshock noticed something strange, specifically in the Sander Cohen piano scene. Conspiracy theorists went wild with the assertion that the Songbird could be heard in Bioshock 1. It means they planned everything from the beginning, right? Probably not, especially considering this same sound can be heard as ambient noise during parts of Bioshock 2. And while some assert that the Songbird could be in multiple universes and timelines, most agree that's a little far-fetched. Personally, I just think that they reused some audio from a sound effects library. Whether it was done accidentally or on purpose to fuel fan theories, I have no idea. But just out of sheer curiosity, I recently reached out to Ken Levine over Twitter to see if he could clear anything up. And to my surprise, he actually replied, writing, "I shall never tell." Well, that's it from my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know there are quite a few I left off, but I just chose my personal favorites and some of the ones that I haven't seen covered as much in other videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.